Hi folks, here's the first of a series of videos I'm putting out on early retirement. So I'm retiring at 55 with the freedom to travel, pursue passions, and live life on my own terms. Some would consider this a part of the FIRE movement. That's the concept of financial independence, retire early. That's exactly what I did. And in this video, I'm going to share the details on how I was able to retire early as a federal employee using the Deferred Resignation Program. And if you're interested in retiring early, stick around for tips that you can use. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, please hit subscribe, to join the journey to financial freedom and adventure. Folks, let's dive in.
Go.
So let's start with the big question. How did I retire early? Now, before I get there, I need to provide you with a bit of information about my background. So I've been working as a U.S. government employee for 20 years. And under the federal employee retirement system, there are a slew of benefits which come with being a federal employee, including the Thrift Savings Plan, also known as the TSP, which is just a government's 401k equivalent. So under the TSP, my employer will match up to 5% of my basic pay. And I began contributing almost immediately after being hired. And over the 20 years, I was just able to accumulate enough so that if given the opportunity to retire early, that I could do so. So at the end of January 2025, I got an email at work about the Deferred Resignation Program, or the DRP. That was part of what's called the Fork in the Road initiative. You know, the Elon Musk and the Doge thing, which, you know, Elon's not there anymore, but anyway. So this program offered federal employees like me a chance to resign or retire by September 30th, 2025, with full pay and benefits up until then. So this was a game changer because it was rare when my organization offered the early retirement. And for me, I saw this as a unique opportunity which offered the possibility for me to retire early. So why is this significant? The DRP was offered in conjunction with the Voluntary Early Retirement Authority, or the VERA. So this was the real key to retiring at 55 for me. The DRP gave me the benefit of leaving work immediately while continuing my regular pay up for another 5 additional months. So I used this time to tie up loose ends at work, drop my retirement paperwork, and prepare my retirement with no financial stress. So I stayed on the payroll accruing benefits while I figured out what my next steps were going to be. And the VERA allowed me to retire early with an unreduced pension because now I met the retirement eligibility. I'm over 50 with 20 years of service. So for some, it's at any age with 25 years of service, which I didn't have yet. But this meant I could start my pension right away without penalty. So why is this such a big deal? So normally, federal employees need to hit their minimum retirement age, which is around 57, and have at least 30 years of service. Or you can reach the age of 60 with at least 20 years of service. That's actually what I was shooting towards. Bottom line, if these age and service requirements are not met, employees' pensions are penalized 5% for each year they retire early. So without the VERA, for me, that would be a 25% reduction in pension for the rest of my life. So there are ways to get around this penalty, such as deferring the start of your pension until retirement age is reached. But I think you see how big of a drawback this penalty actually is and why most people don't retire early outside of the VERA. That is what the VERA does. It lowers the age and service requirement, making early retirement possible. So what other factors were involved here? So the DRP and the VERA is really only part of the equation for my early retirement. The fact that I'm retiring in the year that I turn 55 allows me to apply the rule of 55. So this is an exception. It's kind of key. This is an exception to the standard 10% penalty on early withdrawals from retirement accounts taken before the age of 59 and a half. But this only applies to 401ks and 403b accounts. It does not apply to individual retirement accounts or IRAs, Roth IRAs, things of that nature. But this means I can tap into my TSP immediately after retirement without penalty. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but I could if I want to. But however, when you do take out, you still need to pay taxes on the amounts withdrawn from the TSP account. So the second factor, which allowed me to retire early, is my Roth IRA contributions, which I started at the age of 29. So that will be a solid 30-year contributions and investing before I'm eligible to withdraw tax-free investments. Again, that really adds up over time if you understand the concept of compound interest, which I know some of you do. Some of you think you know, but anyway. The third major factor that allowed me to retire early is my real estate investments. I have a small portfolio of rental properties which are income producing. The fourth financial factor which has made this a possibility is the fact that my wife and I are both debt-free. We own our home and all of our assets outright. We also pay off all of our credit cards at the end of each monthly billing cycles. So with the totality of my assets, I figured my wife and I had enough to make early retirement a reality until we began drawing from Social Security. But what about medical coverage, you may ask? So I checked into my health benefit eligibility and found out that I have the option to keep our health insurance in retirement. And this was critical since I'm not yet Medicare eligible. So pro tip, you need at least 5 years of FEHB, that's Federal Employees Health Benefit coverage, in order to be able to continue your benefits into retirement. To ensure that we did not run a high risk of running out of cash at the age of 82, I sought the help of an objective financial professional. So some sources cite as high as 1/3 of retirees end up back in the workforce. The good news there is almost half of them do so because they want to work, not out of necessity. So some months ago, I met with a financial consultant to run the numbers. I learned that my pension would be based on my high 3 salary and that I'd get no cost of living adjustments until I turned 62. So with the likelihood of financial stability on our side and the ability to continue my current healthcare plan, I just needed something to occupy my time. So there, I just spoke with my wife who manages real estate properties part-time, and together we decided retiring now could give us the opportunity to do more traveling while we are young and active enough to enjoy this freedom. The DRP and VERA weren't without its challenges though. When it was initiated, there was only a short decision window in which to decide whether we wanted to do this or not. It was only about a week, or ended up being 2 weeks. And the information from OPM and HR wasn't always clear. I also had to consider proposed legislative changes like the annuity supplement possibly ending in 2028. And it looks like that's what's going to happen. But working with the financial advisor and doing my research gave me the confidence to move forward. So retiring early at 55 was about seizing an opportunity to take the DRP and the VERA and making a conscientious decision that will have enough in our nest egg as we move into our slow-go years. And That also often requires long-term care services, right? Which can be extremely expensive. But anyway, I got a plan for that, which I'll talk about in another video. So my years of continuous tax contributions to tax-deferred retirement accounts and other financial investments also made it possible. Whether you're a federal employee or not, the principles are largely the same. You got to know your numbers, explore your options, and design a life that you love. So, what's your retirement dream? Share it in the comments below. So next, I'll dive into healthcare strategies for early retirees and bridging the gap between early retirement and Social Security. Don't miss it. Like, subscribe, hit that bell to stay in the loop. Folks, see you soon.